and welcome back to the channel, and I am finally back. This is Master Gaming, as you know, and it's been a while, but I'm back with another build video, the one that you're going to love and enjoy, updated for the new Deadlands DLC, and for current patch as well. It's still very viable. Stam DK is, as always, the bane of console users' lives, and on PC it's pretty viable as well. Now I'm going to be running a traditional setup here, one that you probably already know, but you clicked on the video so you may as well stay and see how I've executed it. You may see from the screen now I've got a massive tail, and that's not a euphemism, I am a Khajiit. I'll go into more about that later. But first, let's have a look at what I'm running. So for our weapon on the main hand, we're running a Great Sword of Daedric Trickery. Now I know what you're thinking, Daedric Trickery, that's such an old set, but I'm running it purely because of the buffs that you get from it. You'll notice that I've got a Sharpened on it, which adds physical and spell penetration, but I'll explain soon why the value is so high. I'm also running a Decrease Health enchantment. I'm running this because Oblivion damage is a flat damage booster. When you use that against somebody in PvP, it goes through their damage shields. So when you're coming up against pesky sorks who like to shield stack, you're going to be doing a lot of damage to them. They'll be forced to heal, they'll drop their shields, you can go and finish them off. You could run a shock glyph, it's personal preference, but you could also run poisons. Now what Daedric Trickery does is it adds 1.2k health, 1k stamina, and 1k magicka. But here is the pied de resistance. On the 5-piece, when you deal damage, you gain one of 5 random major buffs for 21 seconds, every 9 seconds. That means you can have 2 buffs up at the same time, while also having a third one up for 3 seconds. The buffs that you can get from this are Expedition, to increase your movement speed, Protection, to reduce your damage taken, Mending, to increase your healing done, Heroism, to increase your ultimate regen, and Vitality, to increase your health recovery. This is an amazing set, but another one that you can run, that I'm going to pull up on the screen now, is the Kin Marcher's Cruelty. This is a brand new set for the Deadlands DLC, and what it does is the 2-piece adds 1.2k maximum health, 3-piece adds 129 stamina recovery, 4-piece adds 1.5k armor, and the 5-piece, when you deal direct damage, you apply one of 5 random major debuffs to the enemies. So this is the opposite of Daedric Trickery, and this is a brilliant set. The buffs that can come up with it are Major Breach, to reduce their resistances by 5k each, Major Cowardice, which reduces their weapon and spell damage, Major Defile, which reduces their healing done and their health recovery, a very powerful debuff, Major Main, to reduce their damage done, and Major Vulnerability, to, I believe, increase their damage taken. Now these buffs are amazing. It's all about if you want to go more offensive or defensive. You would run Daedric Trickery for defensive purposes, and you would run Kin Marcher's Cruelty for offensive purposes. But enough about these two sets, let's go to our back buff. Monsters dual build. Now we're running both swords. These are enchantment on these, as you should be running poisons on your back bar. I've got Powered on the main hand, and on the backup I've got Nirnroot, just to further increase the damage to boost the heals a little bit more. On our poisons, you've got multiple different options you can run. You can see I've crafted many. One of my favourites right now though is the immovability poison. Now what this does is when it does trigger, it makes you unstoppable, which means you can't be stunned or anything like that, and it'll also free you from any crowd control effects you have on you, making you pretty hard to keep down in one location. Great for 1vxing. It also reduces their movement speed and increases your movement speed by 30% for 2.3 seconds and drains their stamina. Now Stam DK has been known to have quite bad sustain except for that ultimate, so we really do want to be using these poisons just to boost that sustain level. Plus we're will be such sweet music. You could also run Savagery Draining poisons, which are very good for uncertain poisons. What this does is it reduces their critical rate by 3, which I believe translates to about 4%. like Aspanda Brutality. We are not doing that. We are running something different. We are going tanky but also very strong. The Gaze of Sithis with multi-effect enchantment and well fitted. Our complete gear setup will be 3 well fitted, 3 impen and 1 infused. If you're not aware, the Gaze of Sithis adds 3.2k health, 1k health recovery and 4k armor. This is very tanky, however, you cannot permablock. Blocking mitigation is reduced to 0, so if you plan on running this and you want to stand there with a sword and board, you're going to be sorely mistaken. Very good set to run. It's a one piece, it's a mythic, one of the harder mythics to get, I would say. Long grind, but definitely worth it. I would advise getting it as soon as possible. Now next up we're running Heartland Conqueror. Now if you're wondering why I had such high sharpened, powered and Nirnroot stats earlier, it's because of this juicy set. We're running a tri-stat enchantment on it with infused just to boost it a little bit more. And what Heartland Conqueror does is it adds 129 weapon and spell damage, 1k maximum magicka, 1k stamina, and it doubles your weapon traits by their total, meaning sharpened goes from 3000 to 6000, Nirnroot goes from 15% to 30%, thus pushing your weapons to 2000 weapon damage if you were to run a two-hander. This could be good, however I've chosen to run sharpened because I'm not running a maul. I am losing that penetration bonus from running a maul. However, I've decided that running a higher weapon and spell damage is more beneficial for the build and healing and survivability. We are running one piece of Magma Incarnate Arm Cops, which is medium, tri-stat glyph and impenetrable. What Magma Incarnate one piece does is it adds 129 mag recovery and 129 stamina recovery. As you'll see further on why, we really do want to make sure our mag recovery is on par with our stam recovery. We want to be able to maintain both of them so we can have good heals and good damage, because without one or the other we won't be doing well with our build. Stam DKs are all about balance. If you go too far in one direction, you'll suffer in the other. We're running another Heartland Conqueror belt in medium. Our full setup will be 3 heavy and 4 medium just to boost our damage and our max health just that little bit. You should be running all multi-effect enchantments, however I completely ran out of time and could not be bothered to do the final one, and searching for Hacky Gel and PTS is like trying to find a needle in a haystack, and I didn't have time for that. But as you can see, 3 heavy, 4 medium, 3 impen, 3 well fitted. Now onto our jewellery. Now you can run any jewellery enchantments you want here, but I personally like to run a tri-stat recovery glyph on infused on the necklace. Just one, purely to, like I said before, maintain the balance. And then on the other 2 pieces of jewellery we're running infused again with weapon damage. Now if we quickly go to our character sheet, you can see that we're running 19 points into health, 45 points into stamina. We're running the Lover Mundus just to increase our penetration, as like I said we are running low due to not running a maul, however that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, we have high damage. We're running the Lavafoot Soup and Saltress, and we have Major Savagery due to our skills, which I will show you very soon. Unbuffed, these are the stats. We're running a very nice and fair 21,500 physical and spell resistance, a very respectable 2.3k critical resistance, 3.9k weapon damage as a base, 9,996 physical and spell penetration, 1,800 health recovery, 1,500 stamina recovery, 862 magic recovery, 30.5k health, 28k stamina, and we're running 19k magicka. Oh no, that's 18, I'm very far away from my screen. 19 points into health just to push our health to 30k because we want to be hitting that 30k mark. It's just a really good health base to have, especially if you're running PvP. Anything less than that, you're either too squishy or you're an easy target. Now, let's go to our skills. On our front bar, of course, you knew we were running this. We were running Dizzying Swing. I don't know if you saw my character name, but it is Spammy McD Swing. This is all DragonKnights are good for. This is all any stam class is good for. Spamming Dizzying Swing. But it is very good. And until they bring us a new spammable, this is what we're going to be running. So anyone who wants to complain about it should just use it or stop playing the game. We already know what it does. If you don't know what it does, here it is on screen for a second. Second ability, we're running Executioner. This is the reverse slash morph in the two-handed skill line. This is what you spam below 50% health just so you can finish off an enemy regardless of what they want to do. If you start getting hit by this, you're probably not going to survive. Next we have our resistance reducer, Fiery Breath morph, Noxus Breath. This turns it into a stamina ability and deals poison damage, as well as a nasty poison damage over time. This also reduces their physical and spell resistance by 6k. As I mentioned before, if you're running Kid March's Cruelty, you would not need to run this, as you will get Major Breach as part of the dealing damage buff. You could run something else in its place, like another Fighter's Guild ability, such as Turn Evil to get an AoE Fear, or something like Silver Shards just to have as a ranged pull for people. This will also increase your weapon damage, because having Fighter's Guild ability slotted will increase your weapon spell damage. Next up we have Rally. Now if you don't know what this does, you have not been playing Elder Scrolls for longer than 2 weeks. This is a juicy heal, increasing the heal by 15% every second it's active. You can hit up to 20,000 points of health just from this ability in PvP. 20k healing. That is insane, especially mixed with some other buffs that you'll be gaining from Daedric Trickery and your back bar. This will make this heal very good in clutch situations. Plus, gaining Major Brutality and Minor Endurance is nothing we could say no to. And as I mentioned before, we're running Camo Hunter just so we can increase our critical rating, that's what you saw earlier, and by having the ability slotted, we're increasing our weapon damage by 3% as per this Fighter's Guild skill line. For our ultimate, we're obviously running Dragon Leap, because if you're not running Dragon Leap, you're playing DragonKnight wrong. It's pretty self-explanatory. You jump up in the air, you slam down on the ground, you spam some abilities, suddenly you're good at the game. Now back bar, we're going to work backwards here. We're going to run Corrosive Armor. Now Corrosive Armor is very frowned upon in the dueling community, however if you're 1vxing, no one really cares and they'll just call you a scumbag. If you use this, all of your attacks will be limited to 3% of your max health, meaning anyone who attacks you will be capped at dealing 3% so you won't ever get ganked. No Nightblades will be able to get you down to 1 health, 1 HP in one shot. You are capped at 3% of your max health. Plus it deals a nasty dot to all enemies in the area, and any damage you do will completely ignore all of the enemy's physical and spell resistance, meaning you can get your D-swing spam on and deal bonus damage. For our 5th ability, we're running Volatile Armor. This is our resistance booster, and it will also do a little bit of a dot. However, if anyone hits you in melee range, they will also take 1.1k magic damage as a result of attacking you. This is a very good thing to have. It's just a little bit of damage, because like Tesco say, every little helps, please sponsor me. On our 4th ability, we're running Fragmented Shield. Now this is not being used for the damage shield. If you've never played DragonKnight before, then this is an awakening for you. You run this purely to gain Major Mending for 6 seconds. Now 6 seconds is a long time. That is only 1 second more than Vigor's duration, meaning you are getting 16% more healing from Vigor and any other heals that pop in those 6 seconds. This is a very strong booster. You will definitely notice the difference. For our 3rd ability, we're running yet another heal. We're running Cauterize, which is the Inferno morph. You'll find this in the Ardent Flame class. This heals you for 6k every 5 seconds, and it doesn't seem a lot. However, having it slotted will increase your spell and weapon critical, and the heal is a nice little helper when you're doing your burst, and it's just a nice passive heal, especially considering it lasts 15 seconds. That is 3 ticks of a large health boost. Now, we're also running Resolving Vigor. Now, just unbuffed, you can see I've got a 17.5k Vigor tooltip. This is a ridiculous tooltip. With Major Mending procced, you can get this tooltip up to about 21 to 22,000. It is insane. Your healing will never lack with this build. The only way you'll lose is if you drop your heals. And speaking of heals, we're also running the Healing morph of Rending Slashes. Now you notice we were running the Master's Dual Wield. This is so we can get more damage on our Rending Slashes. More damage means more healing. As you can see, it heals you for 16.85 health per tick. It is brilliant. It's a great passive heal to have, as well as your vigor going off. Your health will just zoom right back up to max just from casting your dots again. And like I said, I say dots, but this is only one dot. You switch to your back bar to do a little bit of your buffs, and then you just quickly poke them with rending slashes, and it's back to your front bar to spam them. Now I know you all want to look at the champion points. Now, green tree is irrelevant, you can put whatever you want in there. It's taken me a while to learn the new CP system, but I can strongly say I am confident in it now. For our DragonKnight, let's start off here. We're going to be running the 3 core trees here. 20 in Eldritch, 20 in Precision, 20 in Tireless Discipline. Of course, we're just going to throw 20 into Blessed, just to get that bonus for healing done. In Staving Death, we're running 20 in Quick Recovery. 50 in Ironclad, which is one of our slotted champion points, reducing all our damage taken from direct damage attacks by 10%. We're also running Resilience to increase our critical resistance so we can't get hit for 25k in caps. If anyone knows my pain, you'll understand that I do not say this lightly, and it makes people cry. Now next up in Extended Might, we're running the usual 20 Piercing, 40 Battle Mastery and 30 Mighty, just to increase our damage done on all of our attacks, as DragonKnight utilise every single one of these effects that it affects. I've just said effects twice. We're also running Deadly Aim to increase our single target damage done. Everything we're doing is single target damage, including the damage over time from the Dragon Breath. The Dragon Breath is not affected by this 10%, but it's minimal anyway. We use it to reduce the resistances. Master at Arms also increases direct damage done. Everything we're doing is direct damage except for the Corrosive Armor, the Resistance Booster, and Rending Slashes. Red Tree. Now, I've been playing around with Red Tree, and I've noticed that Rejuvenation has been nerfed in Deadlands, and I believe it's actually also been nerfed in current patch, so we're not running this anymore. We're running 50 in Boundless Vitality, 50 in Fortified, we're running 50 in Mystic Tenacity, and 50 in Pain's Refuge. Now, Pain's Refuge, if you're playing against anyone, usually they'll be running more than one dot, and if not, they'll be running poisons. Now, double dot poisons, for example, they count as 2 effects, so right there, if you get a poison on you, you're taking 2% less damage. This can stack up to 20% for every 2 negative effects you have. If you're playing up against a dot DK, you will take minimal damage from them. And mixed with Battle Cry, where your damage taken is reduced by 50%, this can make your build very tanky depending on who you're fighting. If you're fighting against, for example, a Nightblade, you won't get many negative effects on you, and if you do, it'll be a bit too late. But anyone like a Sork, a DK, or even a Warden or a Necro, you will be able to beat them very fairly with this broken champion point. Now, I had to choose between Strategic Reserve or Bastion, but I chose Bastion, and here's why. I've been noticing that this patch, a lot of ESO YouTubers have been posting builds that utilise a lot of damage shields. Now, I don't know about you, but a Sork shield stacking is the worst thing to ever exist, next to jab spammers. I hate jab spammers, that's why there's only one Templar video on my channel, because they make me want to throw up. But Bastion is definitely very good against people who are using damage shields. If they pop that, you can get rid of it straight away. That 15% damage done is very helpful, and it is always going to come in handy. We do not slot Shield Master, that's just there so we can actually access Bastion. But that is all of the champion points. You can slot everything else into the non-slottables if you've got the spare champion points. But all in all, you're only going to need about 900 CP to actually run this build. Everything else is excess and completely useless. Now, you can see that throughout the video I've also included clips of me dueling with this build and actually going into battlegrounds. This is clips from me on Xbox, where I play on Xbox EU server. You'll notice that the clips actually run something different because I was experimenting back then, but it's still the same principle of the build. The build still works perfectly. Sadly, this is PTS, so I can't post any footage of me actually fighting on PTS because it is drier than the Sahara. But all in all, I believe you guys will be very happy with this build. If I just quickly demonstrate what this build looks like fully buffed up. So we're just going to go onto our back bar and pop all of our abilities, Vigor as well, Rally, and if we go into our bar you can see we're hitting 4.9k weapon damage, 27.8k physical and spell resistance, and we've also got the same recoveries, but this is a very nice setup. Also, I am running some very special potions. Now you may notice that I didn't get any bonuses from my potions, however, I'm running these. Restore health immediately and major fortitude, restore stamina and gain major endurance, and increase your physical and spell resistance by 5k. Now, if we were to use this information and use this potion when we buff up, if I demonstrate quickly exactly what sort of, and pop a potion, you'll see that our resistances go up to 32,000 on physical resistance. This is very handy. You can swap this out for a different set of potions if you like, however I do recommend running these. I will post the recipe in the description, so please do check that out. And yes, this is the build. This is the Stamina DragonKnight, and it's very fun to play. I do enjoy playing DragonKnight. It's one of my more favourite classes to run, and I hope you guys can enjoy it as much as I do. I'm going to end the video with letting you guys absorb the awesome scenery that is the new location in the Deadlands DLC, Fargrave. It's a plain desert of giant skulls, and the devs have honestly done an amazing job at creating the world that is Fargrave. It's one of my more favourite zones to explore, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it when it comes out in November. So I'm going to close the video there, guys, and I'm going to see you in the next one, because I am back. Thank you for everyone who stayed subscribed, and thank you to everyone who's going to subscribe by slapping that subscribe button, hitting the like button, and telling me in the comments how much you love me. I will see you guys in the next one very soon. See ya.